Today we're talking about branding versus marketing. This is a big one. And if you've been in the marketing game long enough, you've probably been able to really differentiate between the two, but it's important, and a lot of people get it mixed up. So let's go. So what do you think about when you hear the term branding? You think logos, you think colors, you think what is your saying that you say all the time. I forget what people call that. In the direct marketing world, it's called a USP, unique sales proposition, but I forget what corporate companies call that. But you think about all those things, and it could be like a branding strategy. That could be a thing that you that your company talks about often, is how are we going to get our brand out into the world so that people can recognize us and buy from us. Marketing, on the other hand, in my opinion, they're very different. I'm going to lower this desk. They're very different, in my opinion, because marketing is the act of convincing someone to buy from you, or presenting reasons why someone should buy from you. And they're different because branding is the material things, and marketing is the idea of this change in someone's mind. Does that make sense? Branding is what you might use. Sorry, I tapped the mic. Branding is what you might use to do your marketing, but marketing doesn't necessarily need branding. I hope that makes sense. I just happened to pull this book off the shelf. It's called The 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing. And I thought it'd be valuable. I'm going to just present a couple. There's 22 laws in here that basically the authors try to say, these cannot be disputed. These are the laws of marketing that you need to follow if you're going to be successful in your marketing. And so the first law, which is the most important law, is the law of leadership. It's better to be first in a category than it is to be better. It's better to be first in your customer's mind than to be better. The law of category, if you can't be first, if you can't be the first one to be known, then you need to set up a new category that you can actually be first in. So it's really, really important to be first. And then there's the law of perception. Marketing is not a battle of products, it's a battle of perceptions. The law of focus. The most powerful concept in marketing is owning a word in the prospect's mind. So they give examples of like Crest. What do you think of when you think Crest? You think cavities. Mercedes. You think engineering. BMW, driving. Volvo, safety. Domino's, home delivery. Pepsi Cola, youth. Nordstrom, service. So this was written a long time ago. So some of these references are outdated, or they would have used different ones. Yeah, 1994. But so these are a bunch of different laws of marketing that, so the third one, I skipped over it. It's better to be first in the mind than to be first in the marketplace. They're kind of saying all the same thing, but the common trend is that it matters where you stand in someone's mind more than what it is you actually present to them. So I see marketing as a big circle, and then branding as a small circle inside the big circle of marketing. That branding is by necessity marketing, but marketing is not by necessity branding. And so many companies, if you're trying to, so many companies use tons of branding in order to do their marketing. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It depends on kind of where you're at in your stage of your business, but As a small business, you do not want to focus exclusively on branding. Branding can be helpful. It can, because it can help you, like the first law. The first law said, it's better to be first than it is to be better. Branding can be a strategy to help you be first. Because, like, if you want to say, I watched Lost with my wife recently, and there's commercials in between everything on IMDb or whatever that is on the platform we watched it on. And there was Geico commercials, like different ones, and they were really, really, really funny. But their branding is so on point. They've got the Geico, the Gecko Geico, and it's consistent throughout that gecko is there, or it's a funny commercial. That's a consistent theme, and that's their branding strategy. But branding is a very difficult thing to use if you're on a low budget, because branding is something that you need to be really, really consistent in and show up everywhere with. Marketing, you can do tons of marketing without even touching the branding side of things. I hear experts all the time recommend you don't even need to create a logo before you start marketing. And you can make a quick one. You can hire someone off of Fiverr to make you a logo. But it really matters that you communicate clearly what you're trying to present to someone, and that you do it convincingly. And you can do that so well without branding. You are not competing with Geico. You aren't. And if you're trying to compete with them, you're not going to win. That's the thing. I'm seeing how these connect. The law of leadership, it's better to be first than it is to be better. Well, Geico's first in front of you. It's not. You might even argue in the world of insurance that Geico is the best of them all. Progressive, whatever. But you might argue that Geico is the best of them all. You're not competing with the best of them all. If you have any business right now and you've got a small business, do not try to compete with the big guys. The second law is the one you need to pay attention to, which is the law of category. If you can't be first in a category, then set up a new category that you can be first in. And this could be a subcategory, like insurance could be Geico, but then insurance for 20 to 30-year-olds who just got out of college. Boom, there you go. That's a new category. And so you have to figure out a new category that you can be first in, and then compete against yourself in that category and say you're the top one in that category. If you try to compete with the big companies, it's not going to work out for you. And that's why you should not focus on branding, is because branding is something big companies can afford to do. And you can't afford to do that. You got to focus on everything else in the marketing world, which is trying to change your target audience's mind on one particular subject. And that takes a lot of different it takes a lot of learning how to do true marketing other than branding. Branding, like I said, is just a sub part of marketing. And so many companies I see focus on branding. They have their marketing team make up the branding side of things and create graphics and create signs. And in my heart, I kind of wince a little bit because I see the focus on the branding more than I do on the message and the ways to communicate that message to a particular target audience. That's and then measuring how that does in a very, very specific way, because you don't want to have any holes in your bucket. You want to have all the holes in your bucket filled in your business, so that when people are coming to your website, if you're struggling with that, when people come to your website, you want to know exactly what they're doing and why they're leaving. Why is your bounce rate so high? Why someone might scroll down to this part of the page and then go back up or leave. There's tons of things that you can focus on in marketing that you don't necessarily need branding for. You could have the most plain website ever with no branding at all, and you can sell someone on something because it comes down to your messaging. So I just think this is something you should consider, the difference between branding and marketing, and how marketing is so much more important than the branding aspect of that branch. Just make sure you differentiate between the two when you're doing your marketing. You don't want to get stuck in that. You don't want to get stuck in the branding aspect of everything that you do, because you're going to end up trying to compete with the big boys, and you can't do that. And you're not supposed to do that. You can still become a huge business and bring in a lot of money without competing with the big boys. You're not made to compete with them yet. So work your way up, but you can't do that with branding only. You got to do all the other marketing things and then maybe touch a little bit of branding, but don't spend all your time on that. It's a big time vampire, as Dan Kennedy would like to say. So I hope this, said something to you. And just a friendly reminder that branding is not as important as everyone makes it out to be. So I will talk to you later. See you soon.